Trump demands that his lawyer be more aggressive in the criminal trial. The former president wants his lawyer to attack the witnesses, the jury he considers hostile, and the judge, Juan Merchan. The criminal trial in Manhattan had barely begun when Donald Trump started directing his anger towards Todd Blanche, his lead attorney. While Blanche has been Trump's favorite lawyer for some time, behind closed doors and in phone calls, the former president has repeatedly complained about him in recent weeks, according to 4 people familiar with the situation. He has complained that Blanche, a former federal prosecutor and experienced litigator, has not followed his instructions and has not been as aggressive as he wants. Trump wants to attack the witnesses, the jury he considers hostile, and Judge Juan Merchan. Trump, who often complains about legal fees and sometimes refuses to pay them, has also wondered aloud why his lawyers cost so much, according to people who spoke on condition of anonymity to comment on a sensitive issue. Almost all the lawyers who have represented Trump have had to experience his animosity. As he enters the 3rd week of his first criminal trial, a process that not only threatens his campaign to return to the presidency, but could also land him in prison, the question of whether his lawyers can have the necessary leeway while fulfilling his wishes has never been greater. Trump considers himself his best legal strategist. Since becoming president, he has hired lawyers to do exactly what he wants, including helping him stay in office after losing the 2020 elections. He has complained that he doesn't have a Roy Cohen, referring to his former lawyer who was known for being ruthless. Cohen, who served as Trump's early business advisor, faced numerous indictments before his eventual disbarment. Jason Miller, a senior advisor to Trump's campaign, said on Monday that the former president and his team were completely focused on fighting a ridiculous case, and that the anonymous comments from people not in the room are just that. He added, "I would be very skeptical of any gossip or rumor about this case." Alina Habba, Trump's legal spokesperson, described Blanche as a crucial part of the team. Blanche declined to comment on this article. Trump faces 34 charges of serious crimes in the Manhattan trial, which resumes next Tuesday, after prosecutors accused him of falsifying business records to conceal a payment of money in exchange for silence to an adult film star in 2016. He faces 3 other proceedings, but this is likely to be the only trial before the November elections. Blanche rebuilt his career to take on Trump's case, and he also represents the former president in 2 of the other 3 criminal prosecutions. According to his friends, he firmly believes that Manhattan should not have prosecuted Trump. Over the past year, it has become routine for Trump to lash out at his legal team moments before heading to court or when he's inside the courtroom. So far, Trump, who has exploded repeatedly during 2 civil trials in the last 6 months, has been respectful of Blanche's strategy while the jury members are present. Blanche has done things that appear to reflect his client's desires. For example, in his opening statement, the lawyer mentioned that Trump had built a very large and successful company. If the lawyer manages to convince at least one jury member that there are reasonable doubts about whether a crime was committed, the trial would end with a hung jury, which Trump would consider a victory. But Blanche's representation of a client testing the limits of norms and laws has generated friction with Judge Merchan. Last week, the judge warned Blanche that he was losing all credibility by claiming that Trump had the right as a political candidate to attack people involved in the trial despite a gag order preventing him from disparaging witnesses and others. Blanche's friends and supporters say he has an unsolvable client management problem. They assert that if Blanche complies with Trump's demands, the judge will almost certainly sanction him, potentially undermining his client's defense. Eli Honig, a former prosecutor who worked with Blanche in the Southern District of New York, said that it is not always the optimal defense strategy to attack every minute of every hour of every day in the trial. And he added, "You will exhaust the jury and, more importantly, compromise your credibility. The best defense lawyers know that you have to choose your battles. You choose the most important battles," said Honig. The duration of Trump's anger remains uncertain. In recent years, he has had many such interactions with lawyers. During his second impeachment trial, when he left the presidency, in the 5 criminal investigations against him or his company, and in 3 civil trials. His frustration tends to manifest in waves. When he was president, he reserved some of his harshest insults for his lawyers. The invectives he directed at his advisors in the White House, Donald F. McGahn II, and Pat A. Cipollone were often so severe that staff members said they felt like leaving the room. However, Blanche has held a special position. People close to Trump have said that he likes him, although they acknowledge that this closeness will likely change if there is a guilty verdict. Trump compares all lawyers to the two he admires most. Cohen was one of the mentors who gave him access to Manhattan elites and taught him to use the judicial system as a blunt instrument. The other was Jay Goldberg, who, before his death in 2022, handled several matters for Trump, including his first wife's divorce. Jay was a fantastic lawyer, Trump told a journalist in 2021. We had great results. I can't find anyone like that. Jay Goldberg, was a great student at Harvard, but he was very effective. Trump described Cohen, who died in 1986, as very controversial, but very brilliant. He did great work for me, he remembered. He was a very loyal guy. If he was with you, he was a very loyal guy. Both Cohen and Goldberg represented mobsters, and they were known for their showmanship. After the Department of Justice filed a housing discrimination lawsuit against him and his father in 1973, Cohen captivated Trump. Cohen accused the federal government of Gestapo-like tactics. He delayed the case for months and settled it with a consent decree in 1975. Cohen claimed victory. To his biographer, Timothy L. O'Brien, Trump was blunt about what he admired most about Cohen. To you, he was brutal, Trump said.